There comes a moment in a man's life when he gets tired. Not tired from working, not tired from responsibilities, but tired from explaining himself to people who were never trying to understand him. For years, he explains his intentions. He explains his decisions. He explains why he feels hurt. He explains why he needs respect. And slowly, he realizes something painful. The people who truly care about him do not need endless explanations. And the people committed to misunderstanding him will never accept enough of you. That moment changes a man, because when he stops explaining himself, he finally starts protecting himself. But most men discover this lesson only after losing years of peace. And the reason why may surprise you. Michael was 56 years old when he realized he had spent most of his life trying to be understood. He was the kind of man people trusted, a good husband, a loyal friend, a hard-working employee, someone who always tried to do the right thing. But there was one problem. Every time someone questioned him, he felt the need to prove his heart. If someone accused him of not caring, he explained. If someone misunderstood his silence, he explained. If someone treated him unfairly, he explained why he deserved better. He believed, if they just understand me, everything will change. But everything did not change, because some people were not searching for the truth. They were searching for a reason to keep their opinion. And one day, after years of defending himself, Michael experienced a painful moment. A person he had helped for almost 20 years accused him of being selfish. Selfish, because for the first time he said no. After all the sacrifices, after all the support, after all the times he showed up, one boundary erased years of kindness. At first, he wanted to explain again. He wanted to remind them of everything he had done, but then he stopped, because something became clear. People who forget years of loyalty because of one disagreement were never valuing the loyalty. They were valuing the access. That silence became the beginning of his freedom. Maybe you've experienced this. Maybe you spent years trying to convince someone that your heart was good. Maybe you kept explaining because you believed one more conversation would finally make them understand. But here is the truth. You cannot explain your way into being valued. Most people think explaining creates respect. They're wrong. Here's why. Respect does not come from how much you convince someone. Respect comes from how you carry yourself. The more desperately you try to prove your worth, the more you teach others that your worth is something they get to judge. A confident man does not need everyone to understand him, because he understands himself. This is where many good men struggle. They confuse silence with weakness. They think, if I don't explain, they will think they are right. But maturity teaches something different. Sometimes silence is not admitting defeat. Sometimes silence means, my peace is worth more than this argument. A man becomes different when he stops fighting every false opinion about him. He realizes his character will speak louder than his defense. And the people who truly know him will not require him to constantly prove who he is. But there is a deeper reason why explaining becomes addictive. Many men are not really chasing understanding. They are chasing approval. They want permission to be themselves. They want someone else to say, you are right, you are good, you are enough. Maybe this is happening in your life right now. Maybe the reason you feel exhausted is not because people misunderstand you. Maybe you are exhausted because you keep handing them the power to define you. And this is the painful truth many men learn late. The person who controls your need for approval controls your peace. The moment you stop needing everyone to agree with you, you become difficult to control. People may criticize, people may judge, people may create their own version of your story, but you no longer spend your life correcting every chapter they write. That is freedom. Another lesson a man learns with age is that actions reveal more than explanations. A man can spend hours telling people he is loyal, or he can simply live with loyalty. He can spend years asking for respect, or he can become a man who respects himself. Words can be questioned. Behavior becomes evidence. This is why quiet confidence becomes powerful. The loudest person in the room is often trying to prove something. The calmest person in the room often already knows something. The ancient Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius spent his life surrounded by opinions. Some praised him, some criticized him, some misunderstood him. But he understood that a person loses freedom when they allow every outside voice to control their inner world. He focused on his own actions, his own discipline, his own character, because those were things within his control. Epictetus taught that we cannot control what others think about us. We can only control the person we choose to become. That lesson becomes powerful when a man finally accepts it. You cannot force people to see your value. You can only stop living like they determine it. The greatest peace comes when you no longer need to correct every misunderstanding, because you know who you are, and that is enough. The moment a man stops explaining himself, he does not become arrogant. He becomes grounded. He stops begging for approval. He stops chasing validation. He stops trying to win people who already decided to misunderstand him. One day, you stop needing everyone to see your heart. You stop defending yourself to people who benefit from doubting you. You stop carrying the weight of opinions that were never yours to carry. You become quieter, not because you have nothing to say, but because you finally understand what deserves your energy. A strong man does not need the world to constantly confirm his worth. He builds a life that reminds him of it. Protect your peace. Protect your character. Protect your self-respect. Because the right people will understand you, and the wrong people were never going to. If this message connected with you, subscribe for more lessons on human nature, Stoic wisdom, and self-mastery. And tell me in the comments, when did you learn to stop explaining yourself to people who refuse to understand you?